There are moments in life when a single truth, simple yet powerful, strikes the heart so deeply that it feels like a lightning bolt of clarity. It is not clothed in complexity, nor hidden behind veils of intellectual debate. It is a truth so clear, so undeniable, that it slices through confusion and reveals itself in its pure brilliance. Surah Al-Kaafiroon is one such revelation. This short surah, only 6 verses, is among the most profound declarations of spiritual independence, divine clarity, and the luminous line between truth and falsehood. For the Sufi, it is not merely about disbelievers of the Prophet's time, but about the eternal dialogue between the soul that seeks oneness and the countless veils of separation, illusion, and denial that stand in its way. Surah Al-Kafirun is not just a rejection of idol worship. It is the declaration of liberation from every false worship, every false attachment, and every false self that claims a share in the absolute. When recited with presence, it shakes the inner being, making the heart tremble with the certainty of divine singularity. Let us journey phrase by phrase, peeling back the layers, deep enough for the heart to feel the pulse of eternity within these words. Verse 1. Say, O you who disbelieve. At first glance, this is a direct address to the disbelievers of Quraysh, but the Sufi sees a mirror here. Who are the kafirun except the voices within us that cover, conceal, and deny the truth? Every time the heart hears the call to surrender and the ego resists, that resistance is kufr, covering the light. So the verse is not only directed outwardly, but also inwardly. It is as if Allah is telling the Prophet, declare openly without hesitation, draw a line, establish clarity. For the seeker, this is a command to confront their own inner denials. The false gods of pride, greed, fear, and ego whisper endlessly, worship me, serve me, obey me. But this verse arms the soul with courage. O deniers of the truth, I address you directly. I recognize you. I will not hide from naming you. It is a call to stand face to face with the illusions within and around us. Verse 2. I do not worship what you worship. This is the spiritual sword, clear, unbending, uncompromising. It is the cutting of the cord between the soul and all that is not God. In the time of the Prophet, it was idols of stone. But in the Sufi reading, idols are not merely statues. They are the subtle attachments of the heart: money, status, reputation, desires, fears, and even the worship of the self itself. The seeker declares, I will not give my bowing to what you bow to. I will not surrender my soul to your false altars. Think about it. How many false gods call for our worship daily? The God of approval, when we live only to please others. The God of fear, when we shrink away from truth. The God of ego, when we inflate our self-importance. This verse gives liberation. I do not worship what you worship. It is a spiritual refusal, a breaking free, a declaration of divine independence. Verse 3. Nor do you worship what I worship. Here lies the mirror of separation. The prophet is told, there is no compromise. They do not worship what you worship, and you do not worship what they worship. The line is drawn. In the Sufi sense, it is the recognition that the world of illusion cannot share the same heart space as the one reality. Truth and falsehood do not mix. Light and darkness cannot dwell together. This is also a reminder that not everyone is destined to walk the path of unveiling. Some hearts will resist, some eyes will remain closed. The seeker must accept this reality, not with arrogance, but with clarity. It is also a verse of protection. For the seeker, it whispers, do not expect your ego, your lower self, your inner deniers to ever bow to the real. Their nature is to resist. Recognize this and do not compromise with them. Verse 4, and I will not worship what you have worshipped. Notice the repetition, almost like a drum beat. Why repeat the same idea? In the Sufi rhythm, repetition is emphasis. It is the pounding of truth into the heart until it cannot be forgotten. The prophet is commanded to say it again, not once, but twice, to make the separation permanent. For the seeker, this verse is the act of cutting ties, not only with the present illusions, but also with the past. I will not worship what you have worshipped. The chains of tradition, the inherited false gods, the cultural idols, all are broken. How many of us unconsciously worship what our forefathers worshipped? Not just in religion, but in habits, in patterns, in unexamined beliefs. This verse liberates the soul across time. It says, even if generations bowed to these false gods, I will not. It is a clean break, a declaration that one's loyalty is only to the eternal. Verse 5, nor will you worship what I worship. Again the repetition, a third and final confirmation. This is no negotiation. This is not a temporary difference. This is the eternal truth. Those who deny will not worship the one reality unless the veil is lifted. The seeker here feels the loneliness of the path. Not everyone will walk it with you. The road of oneness is narrow, often solitary. This verse prepares the heart. Do not wait for them. Do not expect them. Your path is yours. Their path is theirs. At the same time, it is a call to compassion. The prophet was not commanded to condemn, but simply to declare separation. No hatred, no insult, just clarity. For the Sufi, this is an example. Hold compassion for those who cannot see, but do not compromise truth for the sake of belonging. Verse 6, to you is your religion, and to me is mine. The surah ends with perhaps the most liberating verse in all of Quran. Not a curse, not an argument, but a declaration of freedom. It is as if the divine says, the path is clear. You have your way, I have mine. Let there be no confusion for the Sufi. This is the state of inner independence. The seeker says to the ego, to society, to the false gods, you have your way, I have mine. This is not arrogance, but the calm strength of one anchored in the real. It is also the ultimate teaching of tolerance. To those who insist on their false worship, the prophet is told not to fight endlessly, but to separate peacefully. Your way is yours. My way is mine. In the Sufi sense, this is also spoken inwardly. The seeker tells the voices of illusion, go on, whisper if you must, but I will walk my path. I belong to the one, and I will not bow to you. The flowing insight. When taken as a whole, Surah Al-Kaafiroon is not merely about disbelievers of Quraysh. It is about the eternal struggle within the human heart, the ego and the soul, illusion and reality, separation and union. The Sufi reads it as a manifesto of spiritual freedom, a declaration that the seeker will not compromise, will not bow to lesser gods, will not sell their soul for acceptance. It is both a sword and a shield, a sword cutting the chains of false worship, and a shield protecting the heart from compromise. The beauty is in its clarity. There are no complex arguments, no lengthy proofs, just the pure force of truth spoken plainly, repetitively, unshakably. Final reflections. My dear listener, reflect. What are the false gods that call for your worship today? Whose approval do you bow to? What desires sit on the throne of your heart? What fears dictate your choices? Surah Al-Kaafiroon is not a distant declaration of the prophet alone. It is your declaration here and now. Stand before your inner idols and say, I do not worship what you worship. I will not bow to you. My path is to the one, the eternal. The real. Let this surah become your shield against illusions, your compass toward truth, your declaration of spiritual independence. And remember, liberation begins the moment you draw the line. So will you walk the path of oneness, uncompromising, unwavering, free? Or will you remain in the marketplace of false gods? The choice is yours. To you, your way, and to me, mine.